Welcome to Curious Joel, a show about curiosity taking us deeper into the topics of people's passion and interesting conversation. I'm your host, Joel Circo. My guest today is Aaron Olszewski. I almost messed it up. Close. How are you doing today?
Doing good.
And what is your passion? How would you describe it?
Well, if you enjoy what you do, then you never work a day in your life.
Okay. And what is it that you do?
That's a lot of things. At my current stage right now, I'm doing a lot of website design.
Okay. How did you get into website design? That feels very, like, I don't know. To me sounds like something that you are growing up. Like, yes, this is what I'm gonna do with my life, and not like in my brain it's something like, yes, I went to school my whole life to build websites. But how did you get it? How did you first get into this as an interest?
I would say at this time it's coming back to web design mainly.
Okay.
I've done it before as a kid, just as a little hobby, doing websites.
Okay.
So it's always done it. Always loved computers. Always loved math. So it kind of gets to that niche. Went to school for engineering, but never went into that position. But
Gotcha.
after college, went into an IT position, and not the kind of computers I want to work with full time. So
Fair. So you used, like, I guess let's go back to childhood of like what first caught your interest with like computers and designing websites and stuff. Like where did this first peak of curiosity come from?
I think it's always just clicked, me and computers. Why websites, I think, is what you're asking.
Yeah.
And I think it's most likely just what it evolved to. It's always been some kind of coding, and some of the easiest is HTML.
Okay.
Websites have evolved a lot more since then,
Mm-hmm.
obviously, to keep up with what we can do today.
Mm-hmm.
But I think only recently has it really clicked is your digital frontier. That's where we're all going. Unfortunately, we're not going to have brick and mortar stores everywhere. Because it's just not easy for people to make it there. Amazon, it works. People love it.
But just as a counterpoint, Amazon has physical stores now.
That's fair. I mean, they're taking like Whole Foods, but we were actually supposed to get one out here in Connecticut, and then they said, no, there's too many Whole Foods. So the Amazon Go or whatever. We were excited to try it out. Just walk in, walk out, and they know who you are.
I've been to an Amazon store. I forget which airport it was next to. I wish I remembered because I wanted to go back there.
Mm-hmm.
But I was supposed to pick something up, got there like really early, and was like, okay, I'm not going to sit at the airport for an hour. So I was like, what's around here? And I'm like, there's an Amazon store. Just walked in and I'm like, this is really weird to see like Amazon basic products on shelves.
Right.
But a lot of things are moving more towards the digital, like you can order from us, and yeah.
Right. And I think the bigger passion right now is I really only like doing websites for startups, small, medium-sized business, nothing big.
Sure.
Because I think that's what we need to do. It's the small startups; those are local. We need that.
It's the website's version of mom and pop shops.
Correct. I think that's
they
important.
They need more support than Amazon has.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
They can hire their squad.
Yeah.
I enjoy it, and this is what it comes down to.
Okay. So as a kid, you liked it, and then like where was that like switch from it's a fun thing to do to I should turn this into like this should be making money? Like what was the like aha moment of like this is what I'm doing now?
I think that's even early in life. I've tried to do a couple websites here and there for different business ideas. So
Gotcha.
it was trying to make money for myself, so I'm making websites, and then other people are going to need this too, and just starting to make it's knowing that it's something that can be done on my time, kind of IT.
Sure.
So on my time, I give time for the family, which is important. I think is what it comes down to.
Okay. Kind of gives you a little bit more control over when you're working and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially with a newborn, it's quite nice.
Yes. Which, for those of you who don't know, if you listen to my episode with Heather, this is her husband, and they just had a baby recently. So that flexibility of, hey, this is my company, I'm doing my own stuff, so I can decide when I need to be doing something and when I can just focus on home for a little bit.
Yeah, and all the work seems fulfilling when you're helping the startup or
sure, because I mean, it's not like when you have bigger companies that are more established, like your assistance is not as big of a deal versus where it's like this was from scratch or from very little to start with, and then like, wow, they have a website now.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
No, I know Heather always. If you don't have a website, I'm not buying from you. Facebook's page doesn't do it for me.
Well, that's fair. That is very fair. And for me, I'm a fairly tech savvy person, and like there's companies that I'll go to their website. I'm like,
come on.
I don't like this.
Pretty
I don't
much,
like this. This looks like this. This is the website equivalent of like a ransom note cut out of magazines. It's like none of this works together. I don't think this looks like you slapped it together in 3 seconds so you can scam people. I'm like, I'll wait until you have a better website.
Exactly.
I mean, it is your digital face essentially. Like it's similar to like if you go to a store in person and it's like falling apart. It's like, well, maybe we'll go somewhere else, you know, versus like a pristine looking face, or like even like, I mean, you can even go with the vintage look with the brick and mortar. Like if it has a vintage look but looks nice with it, great. But like when it's like, I opened the door and the handle came off.
That vibe.
The door loaded for 4 minutes. But yeah. Okay, I like that. So in website design, what do you find is the biggest like hindrance? Like what's the biggest obstacle you have to overcome?
I guess depend what aspect you just...
Well, just in general, like as you're going through, you know, a project, like what is usually the biggest like obstacle you find, whether it's, you know, whether it's difficult customers or, you know, obscene requests of what people think you can do. Like what seems to be the biggest thing you have to kind of push through or work around?
Lots of things pop up, but I think what I try to do in my process is I ask the questions up front, because knowing what the logo is, do you have a motto, do you have categories, you need to know what you want to be able to make a good website. So I try to ask those questions up front, so it gives people time to figure that out. But getting those answers are tough. I mean, do you have any colors that you like? I always ask, is there a site that you like that's similar, and we can start getting from there. But it's just knowing what they really want, and as much as I was like, oh, I know what you want, I'll just build it for you. I don't. I can't read your mind. So
yeah. So like just like vision casting, like trying to get those answers. I feel like I've had.
I want to do this, but I don't care what it looks like. No, you got to care what it looks like. There's a full picture there, and I want to help you build it out. But
right,
if you don't know what you want, then I'm not going to necessarily choose for you.
Yeah.
I can say blue on a website's good. It gets people calming. Red, stay away from. But
yeah, I think I had a graphic design artist that had a similar issue of like customers like, oh, I don't care, like just make me something, make me some art. It's like, well, what do you want it to look like?
Yeah, art's
just
hard.
Stuff. It's like, no, I need a thing. And it can be hard to get those answers out of people when they haven't given it much thought. Like just like, I don't know, colors, does it really matter? I don't know, yellow or something. It's like, oh, not yellow. Not unless you have something very specific you have in mind for yellow. Yeah. Okay. All right. So with like those things, like the harder aspects of website design, like I think we touched on it a bit, and I wanted to know if you had anything to add to that. But like, what drives that passion to move past those obstacles? Like, because I know some people, when someone's like, well, I don't know, it's like, well, great, I'm gonna just leave you here, bye. Like, if you don't know what you want, I can help you, see you later. Like, what drives it beyond, like, pushes you to like find what they actually want and need?
I think it ends up being the completion. I guess one of the first websites 2 years ago, she knew she wanted cooking and her style of cooking, Jamaican, that type of vibe. Um, didn't know the business name, so we didn't know what domain to get. I think we ended up choosing a very good name, and I won't say it just because I don't know. Can say it, but I think she was happy with it in the end, and I feel like it could always be better, but she was really happy in just seeing that joy at the end is all that it ever is, and I like seeing the full picture, and getting somebody there is a good process.
Okay.
That fulfillment.
Yeah, so that kind of is able to push you through like the rough spots of like, okay, well, and then you the end result is the satisfactory, very satisfactory. Gotcha. Okay. What are, like, in your opinion, what are like the top 3 skills that you need as a website designer?
I mean, to see a product through to fruition, it's always patience.
Patience is a good one, yeah.
I'm not even going to say it's code, because depending on what type of site they want, it is a lot of cookie cutter. So you can take from templates. There are builders, so it's not code. I guess patience, persistence. Is there another P? Just that persistence is in the sense that there's many ways to cut a cookie, cut the cheese, whatever you want to do. And not always are better. You asked what something hard would be about website design is you have to be thinking about security. It's on the digital frontier. It's everybody's attacking it. So you don't want to use a plugin that has no security features.
Right.
That's one of the hardships with doing a mom and pop shop startup is they don't know anything about security, so they don't want to be worried about it. So I'm going to keep that in mind with their site design. So if they want a form on their page, there's so many plugins. You can just write a simple script if there's plenty of free code out there. So it's not hard to find it. It's just making sure you take a little extra time in your persistence, and then it kind of goes with research. I don't know if that's the same or separate.
That's a question for you, whether it's the same or different, because I know for me, I can have persistence in my research. Well, but for some other people, it can be the same thing or it can be different. So.
Well, I think yes, persistence in your research, because just being thorough, persistence and thorough. So patience, persistence, and thorough. PPT.
PPT. Gotcha. I like it. What about like a skill that you were surprised you needed? Like something that like you weren't expecting to need in website design, and then like you're like, oh, okay, this is actually kind of important.
I mean, it's the project management, which is one of those things I learned when I was working in IT, is how to manage a project. And it's, as much as you want, sure, if I give you those questions at the front, you just give me answers back, then yeah, I'll make you a website. But it never works that way. And it's just, we've worked together. Keep reaching out, keep pushing things through. You set a time frame, it's going to get pushed back. That is life.
Yeah. Okay. And then what about a skill that like everyone like leading up to it, everyone's like, oh, you need this, you need this, you need this, and then you're actually like, in practicality, you don't really actually use.
That's the coding.
The coding.
I mean, yeah. I mean, more than 50% of the projects, the sites I do is, I don't even do any HTML. Okay. Or anything deeper. It is plugins. Everybody check out WordPress if you want to do it on your own. WordPress gives you a lot of good options, but just play around with it. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's where my website technically lives. I haven't put much work into it because right now I just haven't had time to do it. But like, because through my hosting site Libsyn, at the level that I'm subscribed to them, they also offer like a website on their domain. So it's like libsyn.com / like here's
WordPress does the same thing.
Yeah, so like I think it's a WordPress site, which for me, like the first website I made was with, I think it's Wix.
Yeah,
I think, and like that was really easy.
Yeah,
and then going to WordPress for me was a change in difficulty and not as much customizability for the site that Libsyn gave me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so it was like Wix was like this really clean, like a drag and drop template stuff, which was like really cool. And then I go to like my CuriousJoel.com, which is why I don't like advertise it on my podcast ever. But like I have this website, but I'm like, it's very limited on what it has, and it's just kind of but WordPress can be something that's like I don't know how to code, but you can use stuff like that too.
But you were saying Wix was more customizable, or WordPress is?
In my experience, Wix was.
Interesting.
Like I said, this I think was a WordPress site through Libsyn, and I think Libsyn might limit what I'm able to do.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm not trying to like say WordPress is bad. I'm just saying like the user experience I had with going through Libsyn versus through the Wix website creator.
Oh yeah,
was
user experience, Wix, Squarespace. Yeah, they're good places to start for sure.
Yeah,
but we should have your subscribers vote if you should get a site built on your own domain.
Hey guys, yeah, let me know if you want me to have a full blown website. We'll see what we can do about that. Yeah, okay. The coding is a surprisingly unused skill in less used skill.
It's not required. I mean, I won't go into it, but AI just makes it even easier.
Sure. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's a big aspect of a lot of things is like
they're using that tool. Yeah, I want a page to look like this, or you give it a picture and then it gives you the script for it. So
yeah, I mean, it's I think that AI is a good tool in moderation.
Yeah,
I think that there's definitely people that are way overusing it. I mean, I've watched a lot of things just kind of go terribly because people are like, well, instead of actually trying to do this art for things, I'm just, like you can see it's flooding Instagram with things. I saw something recently that was like this cute little story of like, I think it was if Voldemort had raised Harry Potter, and I was like, the first couple of things were really cool, and then like the third panel, like Voldemort's hand is like one of them is half a right hand, half a left hand. And it's kind of like bent. I'm like, oh, great. Okay. This is AI generated. This is not like, I like the concept. And I'm sure a human came up with the concept and they're like, here, draw this, people. It's like, okay, cool. It's like, but if you'd taken the time to actually like talk to an actual artist, that would have been a quality piece of content. But you used AI to take a shortcut. And it's kind of meh. But sorry. My little rant about AI and its benefits and downsides that are frustrating. Okay. So this is I got two-part questions for you. The first one is like, what is the hardest, and then what is the easiest part of your job?
Pulling that information out of people. No. Yeah, nothing about the design. It's figuring out what they really want, and they don't know that either at the beginning most of the time.
Yeah, helping them find their vision.
Right, so it's difficult. So you could just easily say customer service.
Sure. And then what about the easiest?
Just putting a picture to what their word said.
Okay, so like once you have
vision.
Their vision finally,
it's finding the right way to do it is normally fairly easy.
Kind of downhill from there.
Yeah, limitation always is budget, because plugins could save you some time, but
it can cost.
You're right.
Gotcha. Okay. A little bit different. It can be overlapping. It can be the same answers sometimes, but I find that oftentimes I'm surprised by how different these answers are. But what about your favorite part versus least favorite part? Like that, they sometimes overlap, but not always. And so it's interesting to see if there's overlap with that or not.
So a favorite would be just that completion, seeing the final product, and actually everybody being happy. Like, oh yeah, that wasn't even what I expected it to be. It was better.
Right, like the whoa! I didn't realize you could do something like this. Yeah.
Worst.
Least favorite part. Yeah.
I could say now I don't get to work on it anymore. So the completion. No.
Gotcha.
Not always finding a nice way of implementing something.
Gotcha. Just that, like, kind of like, well, this is
a Band-Aid. This isn't really a solution here.
Right. Not being able to get that full finished product.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can imagine that would be frustrating, especially when like you're everything you talked about is like that finished product is like the big payoff, and being like, here you go, it is what it is. It's kind of
most of the time they're still happy because again, it wasn't what they didn't know what they wanted, and it was they seemed to think it was better. So I'm happy. Yeah,
but I also understand. I can understand that there's the difference between like, for me, what I think is good and what somebody else thinks is good.
Right.
And, like, I've had a few different people on here, and like there's times where I have to check myself with this too, of like, this audio is terrible. It's like, well, do I think the audio is terrible versus are most people that are listening to this think that it's terrible?
Well, what device do they have it on?
Well, yeah, but I had a director on here, an aspiring director, that like, he's very, very like perfectionist about things, and it's like, okay, you're the only person that's gonna notice this small little change. You can spend 17 more hours trying to fix that one little thing that you're the only person realistically like that's gonna notice this, versus it's not that big of a deal. Yes, it would be nice to fix it. I understand it'd be nice to fix it, but you have people you're working with that are just, I just want to be done. But like, having those moments where like, I'm glad you're happy with it, but I'm not. I'm not there yet. Yeah. Okay. So, as far as coding does go, you said you like 50% ish was your like off the top of your head like percent.
More than 50% of the projects really is less than 2% coding. There's a little modification that's easier done than their interface sometimes, but
yeah. So as far as the coding does go, like, do you just know the HTML, or what other languages have you learned?
For websites, it was initially HTML and a little JavaScript or jQuery. That's where you get the fancy effects from. And then in the middle period of doing website design, I did a lot of PHP. I like the features, a little more security, and where the load is versus computer. If everything's done on the user side, then it's going to be a slower site, or on the server side, and it just pops up on your page, you have a faster site. Other ways around that, but so HTML, JavaScript, PHP would be what I would primarily do a website in.
Gotcha. Out of curiosity, any like C+ or anything like that?
Never. I mean, C++. I've definitely done coding for math projects or something in school, but not for a website.
Gotcha. Okay.
Java would be other little applets I've made throughout the time.
Gotcha. With website design, would you consider it more of a like science or more of an art?
Probably gonna say 50-50.
Okay.
I think it's how it displays on the device, which is also maybe one of the difficulties in website, is how many different screen sizes are there. You want it to look best on as many screens as possible, and there's a lot of tools out there. This is what your website would look here, here, and here. So probably a little heavier on the art. Just It's all about the presentation to the customer, making
Right.
them like, like you said, I trust them. They're not, the door handle's not falling off.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, because I've talked with a few people that work with in the digital world, and it's interesting always to find like, because you could look at it and someone could make very good art from the strictly like science math
Yeah.
like area, and like, well, golden ratios,
I was gonna say that.
just math,
Yeah.
but it's very aesthetically pleasing.
Mm-hmm.
Versus then you go all the way over to the other side of like what I think was like the Van Goghs of like, and Picasso's, where it's like it's not very math or science based. It's kind of like just imagination, like
true,
fully on the other side. I imagine those on the other side of the spectrum. And like with digital, like you can have that, like you're making digital art
for it to show up. It took a lot of science or math,
right? Like
per se.
Like, I mean, graphics design, you're on a computer.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You have to know your computer specs, and you have to know like you have
all
to
the functionalities of your software.
You have to know the program that you're using and how that all interacts digitally.
Mm-hmm.
It's like there's different sides, and so it's interesting to like whenever I have these people that work with the digital world, like where on the spectrum do they feel like they land between like, oh, technology just happens to be the paintbrush I use to create these swirling starry skies.
That's the new tool, new medium.
Or is it, well, I'm just really good at math, and people seem to like it on the other side. Like,
that's what I feel like. Like, so I just know the coding, and
so you feel more on the digital side of that art.
I feel like I'm able to use those tools, so I know the science of it, and it's a little of the interpretation to make the art.
Gotcha. So
but that presentation is the more important side of it.
Yeah, but the way it sounds like you're a little like not super far on the science side, but like you lean more on the math and technical skill, that with a little bit of art to interpret to this like beautiful presentation at the end.
Pretty much, it's that new medium, and it's like what went onto the canvas to make it look like that is that math and science.
Yeah. I find it fascinating because
right.
Like, it's like I said, it's a whole new world of like, well, like, I mean, I know some people that they can paint on their iPad with their Apple Pencil.
They're very good.
You hand them an actual paintbrush.
Yeah, that part of it too.
Well, I don't know how to mix these colors. It's like,
that's fair.
Okay, so you're good with a science tool, a computer tool. But when you hit it with the practical, like actual application of paint to an actual canvas, it's different. But then there's other people like, oh yeah, no, I used to paint and write poetry and stuff like that. But now I think of coding as just poetry, but to a computer. It's like, what? Okay.
No, I see that. Yeah, that coding side of it. So
yeah,
that's where I see. Oh, how would they do that on there? Oh yeah, that's how they do that.
Yeah. Okay. I like that. So, what's something that people just assume about your job? Like, my go-to example is like when people like, someone's like, oh yeah, I'm a tax guy. They're like, oh, can you do my taxes? Because you just love doing taxes so much. You want to do my taxes. You have time and energy to do mine, right? Like, they just have like, people have assumptions about certain jobs. What is an assumption that you get a lot?
No, I feel like it's the typical hacker scene in a movie. It's like, oh, that's popping up on the screen with 2 keystrokes. No, that's fake. I'm not sure how to relate it to website design, but just it must take all of this to make that. I guess.
They hear coding or design of like computer stuff and like, the green letters on the screen.
Right, exactly. Matrix lines going down the screen or something like that.
They just automatically go to the extreme hacker and stuff like that. Okay.
That would be the only thing I could say. But yeah, no, never too many assumptions. No. Nobody's ever asking for a free website. A lot of people, no. Oh, the assumption is you don't need a website. Why do you make websites? We don't need those.
I guess there'd be a lot of people that's a really good thing. Yeah, because like there are still people that don't understand the importance of like a web presence, and like
Right.
they're like, but I have a store.
And I would say, are you thriving or are you surviving?
That's a really good question to ask.
Because not that you don't need a brick and mortar, some people do, but why not expand your customer base?
Yeah.
If it's a service you can offer, ship it out. There's so many great tools to help you ship it. You can use DoorDash for them to pick up your UPS packages and take them. UPS picks them up if you wanted. So,
yeah.
If you think there's a struggle, there's typically a technology now that's really going to help you. You just need to ask the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's something that like I feel like a lot of entrepreneurs and like upstarts, like startups, not upstarts.
Same thing.
Well, there's a different connotation in an upstart. But startups nowadays typically like the website's an earlier thing, but like some of the companies that have been around longer, it's like their websites are very crude.
Next year.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, but you now have half functionality. People kind of know things, but don't really actually know anything, you know, like, and as somebody that likes to support these mom and pops, it can be very difficult when you're like, okay, so you have a website, hasn't been updated in 4 years. Great. Or like,
and we're at like 50% of the links don't actually go anywhere. We were trying to do flooring for our house, and we go to the website. It's got links to all these cool things. No, broken. Oh, that's the same broken one. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just it is kind of wild to me in my specific generation of like, you should have a website. If like for me, when I'm trying to find something, it's like, okay, I'm gonna look you up on Google Maps. Then I'm gonna follow the Google Maps link to your website. Oh, you don't have it. Okay, you don't have it linked in your. Okay, cool. Look up the website in Google.
There's a lot of people looking to help out, so it's not. There's other website designers. There's other market managers, or whatever, that'll reach out. Take one of them up on their offer. See what it's about. Yeah. If you only did it for a month, like when they do advertising for you, if you didn't get any more sales, it's only a month.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I know that like my brother for his balloon art and stuff like that, we had he had a company reach out to him through, they did a website for somebody that he works with, and they reached out and like they went through this whole process of like, well, we did some research on you, like we looked up like what you do, here's what we can do for you, and all this stuff, and like customized a bunch of stuff, and like, you know, it was a little expensive, but they did a lot of work, and it's something to keep stay up to date with. But like, you know, once you finish with it and like you realize like, okay, I can look this up on my laptop or my phone and it all looks good, you know.
Yeah, no, he has a nice site now. So
yeah. But then there's, you know, like I said, you have the other people that are like,
come to me.
Your restaurant that has a menu that doesn't have anything on it, or like your store hours were last updated in 2013.
Don't send me to your store if you're closed. Please don't send me.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, you know, me and December have
holidays exception.
Well, yeah. Like, but like me and December have been to places that like their website says they're open right now.
Right.
It's like your hours. If you're gonna change your hours and you have a website, you need to change your website. You need to have someone that's like, yes, we did change, and now this represents it. Because otherwise, now this thing that's supposed to be driving business to you is now going, oh,
no thanks, never again.
Right, like you don't want to try it again if they're like, yeah, come in. No, we're not right now. It's like
we had a 3 strikes are out with a pizza restaurant near us. Yeah, they were closed on a Tuesday, then it was on a Thursday, and then we were like, what? We looked at their menu, that's their schedule. They have these weird hours, but they're closed now, so clearly nobody else liked it either.
Well, yeah, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like a website can be a very key component. As far as that goes, like what about like hold on. I've messed this up on an earlier episode. I think it was an episode. Either that or it might have been just a conversation. Search engine optimization, SEO.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about what that is a little bit and like...
So search engine optimization. So it's when you go to Google, you go to Bing, you want to show up above everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's a struggle. That will, I mean, if somebody's looking for you, they're going to find your site. If they like, Joel Circo, they know you've said the name, so they'll search you and they'll find you. But if you're just searching for podcasts, you're going to show up really low on the list if your SEO is low.
Mm-hmm.
Hardware store, whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
The tricky part with it is there's two. There is coding that can be done, which I try to optimize as much as possible. But the drawback comes, Google changes as much as possible how they do their SEO. So you set it up for one formula, just like any of the social media. They change up their algorithms to try to be more accurate for you. So if you design your code specifically to their algorithm and it changes it just one tick here, then you just show up at the bottom of the list again.
Okay.
So it is. Yeah. So it is one of those things. Maybe once a year you would want to pay to have a site updated to be re-optimized. Sometimes it's not necessary.
So like what in more real terms besides just coding and things, like what is search engine optimization look like? Like what types of things have you seen in the past that like people do to help that?
So essentially your website, when it's built, you have trigger words in the back end that is like, this is like this. If you have enough of those related words, then if somebody says camping and yours is outdoor activities and those relate, then you could show up with it. Google had to change it, put a limitation to how many words you use because people just put 1,000 words.
Yeah.
Right. And then, obviously that slows things down if you're searching through all those words. No, you just get dropped to the bottom of the list when it got the new algorithm.
Yeah.
So it's how it knows that your site is a good result for what the person is looking for.
Yeah. And that's why like when you like Google something, you might find some sites that are not exactly what you're looking for is because they have
the same name,
other common things.
Bad SEO. So,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, where it's like, okay, well they put in this stuff, that stuff, the other things, but like ideally you want your keywords or tag words to be more related to like, here's what people are. This is actually gonna be what someone's looking for. Like when someone looks up this word, I want to be what shows up for this search. You know,
that's the main goal of it.
Yeah.
But there's two ends. So in the back end, you want that right linking. But the alternative is most search engines or social media, you can pay for those keywords. So if you only want to be, when anybody searches that, you can show up at the top of the list above everybody because you were able to pay for that word.
Interesting. Okay.
So, yeah. Google has ads. Facebook has ads.
Yeah. And that's, so would that be like the sponsored, like,
yes,
sponsored at the very like top two
most
spots?
ad sponsored tends to be, yeah.
Gotcha. Interesting. I never realized that. But yeah, I mean that's something that like I have to do. So this is a little peek behind the curtain. But like for each episode that I post, I'm supposed to give tags for like what do I want people searching on Spotify and this episode comes
exactly
up. Like, and that's something that's always interesting for me when like some of my conversations span a lot of different topics. I'm like, okay, let's see. Like trying to like, okay, there's just my podcast that I want to represent of like learning, curiosity, funny, like stuff like, yeah, most of my episodes are pretty funny. They're fun to listen to. They're all about curiosity and learning about things and stuff like that. And then on the other side, it's like, okay, but like, what is the other person bringing? What are they looking at? Like the digital art or the website design or authors and like, okay, these are writing tips. These are like authors, this is award winning, like this is character design, like all these different things, and like trying to find the words that I feel like best represent this specific episode and the 2 people or 3 people on this episode. And like there's times where I'm like, so like, I don't know, wait, which one do I want to drop? Because same thing, like I think I have like a 20 word limit or something like that, but they tell you like don't overdo it, like. And
some words, just everybody puts it in there, so why use it?
Yeah, and
Well,
it's essentially, as SEO is very similar in concept to like hashtags, of like you use the right hashtags, you get people will see your post more often when they look up certain things, and if you use the wrong hashtags, no one's ever gonna see it.
Well, I mean, that's also the same hashtags, and the right trending audio helps you as well.
Yeah.
The one tip I was going to have is use AI to suggest some good words for you. I have this blog article, put bullet points of what you thought was important in it. Please suggest some tags that would be good for that social media platform.
Interesting.
And it has this database of what it can search on the internet, what people have used, and you don't have to use them exactly, but it might give you some words you didn't think about and a starting point.
Well, I know that's something like I like about Instagram is like if you put hashtag and start going, it shows you how many people have used that.
They've been very
and like that's something that like I feel like correlates a little bit to like helping you understand like how SEO works, of like this is how many people use this. And so maybe if you want more of a specific poll, don't use that like 4 billion people have used this tag. Try and go something that's a little more specific to you. Or if you just want more people to possibly see it, maybe, use that like 4 billion people have used this tag and be like, well, someone probably will see it. Like,
Right. And then you really have to be that unicorn of a video to.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. I figured you're a great person to talk about SEO and.
Yeah, no, I mean, you say people overuse AI. I think it's underused. Like, just to give you a starting point, you could spend 10 minutes, you just type it in and you already saved yourself 10 minutes.
There you go. Yeah. I can admit that I am not always the smartest person in the room. But like, to quantify what I was saying is, I think that there's places that AI has been overused. I've gotten tired of like as a nerd in this nerddom in fandoms and things like that, where like people go from making quality content. So like specifically, like, I'll reference the D&D world where like you used to spend money paying somebody to do a art commission of your character, this imaginary character you made up, and it looked really good, and it would have all the details you wanted. And now people are using the AI to be like, it's something kind of like this, and it's done in a way that's just kind of insulting to both yourself and other artists, of like, it was just kind of half-hearted, It's if you'd spent more time with the AI trying to get your character fully developed, it'd look better so that you were at least satisfied, or you could have paid somebody to actually design it so that, it looks better. And, that way both of you are happy. But like this way is like, it's kind of like, well, you got 7 fingers and I thought you used a sword, not a gun. It's like, well...
That's fair. There's some quirks to it, but I think 2 points is money, and then the diehard, they're going to still get it commissioned.
I mean, you're right. You have a
somebody's trying it out for the first time. Yeah, you're going to use AI. I mean,
sure. Yeah.
So, yes, I mean, I figured the question would be, is AI going to take my job?
Well, so, I mean, I will ask you that, like... Where do you think AI is as far as like taking the like website space of like just going to a machine going, hey, build me a website based off of this and that, and then just having it like, there's your website.
Well, so I think there will be better tools, but people are still afraid of them is the main point. But an enterprise, they're going to spend $20,000 and it's going to be a very nice website. But the niche that choosing the niche that I've chose is additional benefit is they're not going to use those tools. They need those questions asked to get there. AI is good. You can start to say, what questions should I ask to do this work? And you wouldn't have thought some of those tasks or whatever those items were. So I think it helps you think outside the box. 100% don't over rely on it.
Yeah.
No, I think there's always going to be, I hate talking to a computer on the phone when I call customer service. Right. There's some very good AI customer service now, so maybe, but
I will say I don't have very much luck with that because my problems are, because I'm a techie person, if I'm calling customer service, it's usually beyond what the computer can do.
Oh, yeah.
And so it's always 100%. Like, can I just talk? I know you want to help.
And they took away zero. Right. Zero doesn't work anymore.
Right. There's very few times where just pressing zero gets you an operator or a person. And I'm like, human. Can I talk to a person? A real person. A live person. And then I'm trying to find that keyword to get to an actual person. I'm like, sorry, the computers try to help, but they don't understand the problem. They won't let me explain my problem well enough. But yeah.
Yeah, no. Actually, it's kind of funny. There's one website I can't access here for one of my clients.
Oh?
Yeah. For one of my clients.
Gotcha.
So I go to the library and do some website design, or I do it on my phone because I've called the web hosting. I've called Xfinity. We want to send somebody out. No, there's not a physical problem if I can't get to one domain.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's where, like, I mean, there's certain things that, like, I was just listening to somebody talk about, I don't know what category to put this in, but it was a dilemma that hotels ran into when automatic doors happened. Like, when automatic doors got on, they got rid of the doorman. And they found that they lost business really fast.
Nobody opened the door for them?
Well, it wasn't about nobody opening the door for them. Like, the door's open.
They didn't know it was...
It was the human interaction. People felt way more comfortable walking in a door where someone was there to greet them. And they also found out how much doormen did, as far as, like, customer service stuff. Like, they greeted that they were the first person you see, the last person you see. They were greeted by them and they were sent off by them, And they also, like, carried luggage. They did a bunch of random miscellaneous tasks that an automatic door doesn't do.
That's
but
fair.
An automatic door also doesn't welcome someone in.
It doesn't.
And so, like, they realized that they needed to bring back doormen because without doormen, they weren't getting foot traffic. They lost all that. And it's like, and so they were talking about, like, this thing of, like, well, with that being the case, like, where is that going to, like, where are we going to see that doorman dilemma happen with, like, AI and stuff like that? And, like, all these digital things of, like, at some point, like, I mean, like we just said, we want to talk to a person sometimes. Like, that human interaction is something that, like, is missing in a lot of things. Like, at what point are businesses going to realize, oh, we do need a human aspect to this, otherwise we're not going to be able to,
Unless you can better classify your customers, like, oh, this guy's tech, he already did the first 2 levels. Let's just get him over there, otherwise, he's going to threaten to leave again. Yeah.
I will say, I heard this thing, and I don't want to encourage anybody to do this, but I did want to mention it because I haven't tried it, but it sounds legit. It's a hack to get an actual person on the phone.
Oh.
It's if you cuss or swear, they will take you to human because the computer isn't supposed to deal with, like, aggressive customers or whatever.
Oh.
And I don't know.
I
don't know if that actually works. I don't know if that works and you get just a regular customer service, or if you get a person ready for a hostile customer or not.
I would imagine it doesn't do anything.
I don't know, but I heard that. I've never tried it. There's been times where I've been tempted to try it.
Yeah, but almost like you've been on hold for an hour. You didn't cuss in that time, like.
No, not usually. I'm usually just calm person. I'm very patient. I usually will do other things. Like, honestly, I usually distract myself the entire time. But, like, there's been times I'm like, I just want to know, like, if it works or not. But
Go to a payphone, call customer service.
yeah, I was like, I don't
one.
want to be flagged by it either. Like, you know, but there's been times. I mean, I will throw a whole company under the bus because it was extremely frustrating. But like Spectrum, I despise their customer service because like I had like 3 specific things that I was trying to get done, and it took I think 7 calls and probably about 8 hours to get 3 problems solved because I had to spend hours, like a half an hour, 45 minutes
time.
just getting to a person.
Yeah.
And then that person would like, okay, all right, bye. And it's like, wait till I actually solve the problem. It's like, nah, that's okay.
Any other issue? Okay, bye.
Yeah, it's like, you didn't solve this one yet, much less the next. Okay, cool, that's fine. And so it's like, but it's like, it's a time dedication. And I'm like, I can't just sit there for a whole day just calling customer service back. And I only have so much patience too. But
exactly.
But like, yeah. And so like, it's just something I watched that video and I started thinking about like, okay, but like that personal touch, it goes a long way. You know, that's one of the reasons why 2 companies that I really do like their customer service is Amazon and Chase. I once had an issue with my card buying something on Amazon, and I called them back and forth, and like that took 20 minutes with 4 phone calls because I had to like verify information back and forth and double check with the different companies. But like that was something that was unavoidable to like, I had to go from one to the other and then back again.
They couldn't talk to each other.
Right. Yeah. That's not how anything works. But
we
like,
have a middleman everywhere.
Again, that's 5 minutes each phone call if you break it down evenly. I don't know exactly how even, but it was really simple, really easy. With Amazon, they'll call you instead of having you wait on hold, which I'm like, thank you.
That's half the battle right there.
Right. Yeah, and that's something I wish more companies would do. Is like,
only the big ones can afford that.
So. I know. I understand that, but
there's no like, open source software to do that one.
Yeah, but like that, like the digital queue for instead of hold is so much nicer because instead of like, I'm going to sit here for who knows how long. And I can't do anything really. I have to like be vaguely aware of what's on the phone. But like when I'm like, here's my number, call me when you have a chance. It's really nice.
As long as they hold your spot in the queue, and I would wonder if there's a stat, how much more pleasant are customers that didn't wait on hold the whole time?
Oh, I'm sure if you talk to like the customer service people that make those calls,
I'm
sure they're like we love this because like when you've waited on the phone for who knows how long, and then you have this customer like, okay, I just dealt with that last problem. Hey, I've been waiting on the. I'm sorry, I just got to you. I don't know. I'm sorry. I
did help
deal with the last 45 people very quickly.
They only give you 45 seconds sometimes.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, and I imagine that's easier on them, easier on me as a customer going, I didn't spend 45 minutes just sitting on the phone.
Yeah.
I was playing video games or whatever, you know.
Right.
But like that customer service goes a long way, and like that's something that AI is, in my opinion, and I know people that disagree with me thoroughly, and that's fine. But like, I don't think AI will ever fully be able to replace like an actual human being as far as customer service goes. Like, there's a lot of learning that goes into things, but like to a certain point, like I can tell like there like because I've experimented with a few different like the human AI bots and whatever, like in apps and things, and like there's times where it's like, yeah, I can have a normal call. Okay, never mind. Like, it's a normal conversation. It feels almost humanish, but there's still that level of like, it's not quite like they know what it's like in the real world. And then there's sometimes where it's like, okay, nope, that's not. No, that you missed a big step. You know.
I guess I would stop you and say, you said never. Not your lifetime?
I honestly, I don't think so. I stand by what I say. I don't think it'll ever fully be able to replace a customer service experience, like a human customer service representative. I think it'll get far. I think it will be able to cover a lot of things eventually, but there's just some things that like I don't think it'll be able to fully understand enough to fully relate to another human being. That's my opinion.
Yeah, we'll agree to disagree.
That's fine. I'm okay. I don't.
Yeah. No, I would almost try to relate it, and I hope nobody gets customer service and driving a car. So full self-driving.
I would say those are different. And
any weather condition, any animal, any other idiot on the road.
But so here's the big thing that I would say was different. Okay, emotion. Okay. Driving with no emotion is better. I would say is more beneficial than. Hold on, my brain's trying to form this. So there's a few times where emotions are helpful in driving. Most of the time, I wish people would drive without emotion, particularly the selfish emotions of me. But like. Because that's what causes a lot of accidents is emotion, road rage, driving while sad, driving while angry, driving while emotionally. Like technically speaking, at least in the California handbook, driving handbook, I don't know what it is in other states. I'm sure it's probably somewhat similar, but you're not supposed to drive with strong emotions.
It's probably in most, but
I would assume that it's in most because it's a hazard.
So you're saying full self-driving doesn't use any emotion?
Yeah, and like there's a few times where I might see that as a drawback, like the politeness. Politeness is kindness to others, and so
letting somebody in.
Yeah, like letting somebody in.
Does that though?
Well, I'm just saying like that can be programmed in to some extent of if parameter allow someone in instead of like cutting them off or whatever. But driving, like I said, I feel like does better when you take out emotion.
It does, but
customer service on the other side, I would say, is better when the customer service representative is emotionally connected to the customer.
I would say it's emotionally aware of the customer, and I would say full self-driving has to predict the emotions of other drivers.
Well, yes, I agree with that, but what I'm saying is so. I'm looking at this as a full like self-driving world versus a full AI customer service. Full self-driving with no emotion is great. Full customer service without emotion is terrible.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It does.
You don't have to agree with me, but
it's one of those things. Every time it does bad in us, and every time it senses that the person's not emotionally happy with what was said, it's never doing it again. You do that a couple thousand times, and it's going to predict the most.
But that's relying on customers wanting the same experience from a customer service representative. Because, so just giving you an example, California versus New York, okay, or West Coast versus East Coast, I'll put it that way. Because me and my wife talk about this all the time. New York wants direct, straightforward, upfront, just that's what it is. Like that's what she's always talking about. Is like New Yorkers want just the truth right out in front, just lay it on me. Versus what she complains about with California is everyone wants just the happy smiles and then eventually get around to what you actually want. Like so, a emotional reaction from somebody in like, and then you have like, I'm not trying to specifically call it Georgia, but like the Georgia area of like, oh my gosh, bless his soul. Like it's all pleasantries at the surface. Like, so like the emotional responses to a computer saying something are going to be different. And that's just the United States.
Yeah. The computer knows that. If someone answers the phone in any of those three different ways you were just talking,
yeah.
It's the AI overlord scariness, so everybody can talk about it and we'll end it there. But someday it will. I would say maybe not our lifetime, maybe not my kid's lifetime. But unfortunately, people are getting lazier. So
that is true.
If people want to work less, then somebody else has got to.
Yeah. I mean, you do have a valid point there. I mean,
If somebody wants it bad enough, they're going to make it. And no, the technology, not today, not tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there's a part of me that just is less worried about like AI overlords, more of the Wall-E future of we don't do anything at all, and we just kind of are fat and lazy, sitting on chairs, lying around, drinking our meals, and it's like that sounds like torture to me.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would just, yeah. No, I would say, but you need a bad person to use the AI wrong. And I would always say, bring it back just to finish up with the website security. There's more people trying to do bad things than people can get paid to do good things.
I mean, that's fair.
So if people are bored, have nothing better to do, and they start hacking,
versus very rarely to help people.
Right. They're not going to do it out of kindness. There's plenty that are out there.
I wonder if that's, sorry, my brain just like, I wonder if that's why we have these heroes and stuff. Like, I mean, going all the way back to like Robin Hood of, what if someone was just bored and instead of, just robbing for themselves, they rob for the poor people. It's like, because no one wants, there's not enough people that can get paid to do the good things. What if we made heroes that do it for us? Because they just are so heroic. And
so that is one of the benefits of social media. Like, the people like watching them taking down call centers, so they get money from that. Yeah. And they can do it for good, but unfortunately still a rarity.
Well, that's why one of the reasons I like Mark Rober, the YouTuber Mark Rober, so much, and like the
glitter
people,
bomb.
Like the glitter bomb.
Watch it,
and like
it's great videos.
He has a whole video, and I think I've talked about this on my show before, but like he has a whole video of him teaming up with some other people to take down this giant call center in India.
I watched that one,
and it was incredible to watch it. And I'm like, I will watch every single one of your videos if this means that we can get rid of these scammers all over the world. Like, bam. No, that's yeah, okay. I mean, I can see your point, and I with like AI and security and stuff like that, and I can see it. Again, agree to disagree about to some extent, but yes, I mean, you show me. I did learn a couple things and change my perspective a little.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, back to questions. If you could, like, make a worldwide public announcement that would help educate everybody in the world about your occupation, like, what's something you wish more, like, everybody really knew better?
I mean, just that it is a benefit. It shouldn't be a hindrance to you. And I think that's what it comes down to is, if I have a website, I need to do this, and that. I always try to offer that I'll do maintenance on the site. I can do a monthly maintenance, set that up with you. Or I would schedule a couple hours as part of the project to teach you what some of your annual tasks would be. And if you want to post on your website when you're closed for holidays, you could easily do that yourself.
Gotcha.
Restock inventory if you didn't want me to do it, or pay for it, automation, however it goes.
Kind of bringing down the daunting task of websites of, like, it doesn't have to be this big whole thing that you now have to manage your store and this whole website. It's more of like, well, you can manage it if you want to, but it doesn't take as much. It's not a whole nother, like, because I definitely know people that think of it as like a whole nother business that they have to, like, manage is the website.
It is,
but
it's up in the cloud. Everybody's scared of it.
Yeah, but like bringing that down, like helping people realize it can be on that lower shelf for people to go, I can access this, and it's not. You
want people to make requests, but don't want to have to go to your website. Any request, go to your email, and then you just follow from there. But I think it's important if you have subscribers to be able to send out an email blast before a post, before you have a sale, or if you need to close for a week, because you don't want your customers showing up and especially your diehards. Let them know. I'm sure they want it.
Yeah, I mean, just think about like your email inbox and like how many emails you get from these random companies that like whether you like them or not, you're informed of these things. You know, like there's some companies like I bought from once. I still get the emails, and every once in a while I'm like, actually, let me go check that out really quick. You know, yeah, okay. If someone's listening to this and like they're like, you know what, this is actually what like I didn't realize this, like this is what I wanted to do, but like this is what I want to do. Like someone just starting out, someone that just got the like designer bug, like what would you tell somebody that's just getting started?
Go for it. Obviously, knowledge base wise, don't pay for any courses. I would like quote Elon. You can learn almost anything online.
Yeah.
YouTube. Harvard has computer science courses, all publicly online. And there's the ones that are done at Harvard. There's plenty of people that learned and made businesses just taking those free classes. Yeah. And Google has a lot of good free certs. Yeah. I'm not sure specifically website design, but but
they do have. I know they have coding because I've looked at that every once in a while. Like they'll look like, hey, you should learn some stuff.
No. Yeah. If people think I should ever put any tutorials out, let me know. I can do some WordPress tutorials.
All right. Okay. So one of my favorite questions to ask is a completely hypothetical question, looking into the future of like if you could just snap your fingers and just have your dream in this industry, like what would that look like as far as like your business?
I think, well, there's always a struggle with any business. It's just having a steady supply of people that are actually interested in it. Because I'm not going to force somebody to get a website if they don't want it.
Get a website or else.
Dream? I enjoy it. I don't want to be burdened by it. I think when I was doing IT before, it's one of those, it was fun at the beginning, and then like, oh, I don't come home and play on the computer anymore. Like, it's not fun. So just being able to keep that balance, keep finding new people to help. No specific goals. I like doing other things as well. So new passions to look for, but
okay. All right. So if you had a chance to like look through this portal back in time to when you before you started all this and like give yourself a piece of advice really quickly, what would that be?
Specifically towards website design?
I mean, that's usually where I lean, but if you have something specific,
the less real answer is crypto. No. No, I think there was a point in time it was look for the money, and it's do what you love.
Gotcha. So I try and create a very thorough list of questions and try and dive into everything as much as possible, but I'm not perfect. Is there anything that I missed or that we didn't get to talk about enough for you?
No, I think if people are looking, even if it's just a hobby, coding's fun to play with. Okay. You can make small little applets. If there's a repeated task that you do, like filling in a chart, maybe it could just be a website page. I know it would cost. There's free ones, so you don't have to spend money, but it can always save you time. Use technology more.
Okay.
Learn from it. Learn what not to do with it, because it's inevitable, unfortunately. Well, gotcha. Not unfortunately. Well, potentially.
Gotcha. All right. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for coming on my show. Where can people find you?
So my website is otechservice.com. I do mainly take word of mouth. I've done Fiverr gig service, and a lot of people are scammy. So I would say if you put your information on my site, mention Joel's podcast, so I know where you came from. I've started projects and they just like, no, I'm not paying you. So when it comes from somebody I know or for a good source, I would trust it. Gotcha. Or Aaron, Aaron at otechservice.com and put Joel in the subject line. Okay. Either of those.
Okay. Do you have an Instagram or anything that people you want them to follow or anything?
No, go to the website, subscribe there. That's where I'm
Perfect.
going to put most info out.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Awesome. Had a great time. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. So, trying to get better about this. If you guys like what you hear and want to support my channel, my show, my podcast, however you want to say it, the best way to do that is actually through patreon.com. So if you go to patreon.com/Curious Joel, you can find exclusive episodes that you won't find anywhere else. They're little half-hour episodes that I make in the car with friends. You can actually find the pre-show interviews, the pre-show questions that I do with Aaron and my other guests, that you can only find those on my Patreon. And you also get some exclusive other content that you can only have there. And you get some chance to input on the show's questions. And I ask questions about the show that you can help improve the show with. So if you'd like to do that, go ahead and find me on Patreon over there. As always, thank you to Milana Dodd and her wonderful graphic design. My cover art is by her. If you want to see more stuff like that, you can find her on Milana's Designs on Instagram, or at milanadodd.com. Check out all your fun stuff over there. If you're looking for a great photographer, you can find that at DecemberNoel.com or December Noel Photo on Instagram. Check out her photo a day. She's been doing a photo day all year. She's getting almost 31 days left. So go check out those. There's a lot of fun stuff out there. And another show that I am on occasionally, go check out Braden's Son's YouTube channel, The Coaster Gnome. He's got new episodes of Zero Credits and Counting that is going to be coming out soon, where if you don't know a lot about it, roller coasters or theme parks, you can find out a whole lot that you didn't know you needed to know. And as always, you can find me on Twitter at Joel Circo, on Instagram at CuriousJoelcast, or email me at CuriousJoelcast@gmail.com. Thank you all so much for listening, and I'll catch you all on the next episode.